Okay. Ugh. We look like we're working to me. It's pretty sweet. Well, hellos. We've got some more Wild West terrain to work on today. So I finally got my double-decker building from Gear Escape Games. And I did an unboxing and a build for that, where we kind of built all this up. And I've since put it on a base and primed it. And I figured we would work on painting it up today. This is going to be my brothel slash like bar tavern kind of thing. So we got our levels. You can see there's bird seed stuck inside of it, because these were out back after they got primed and the birds were dropping seed in them. Got another bar stool in there I forgot to take out. And yeah, so we're gonna end up putting a bar in here like this, and some tables in the back, or I mean some counters in the back. And then we're gonna have like a little table here, right? Gonna have some cute little furniture in there. We got some stools like that, but still, so it can still be playable, you know? And that's gonna be the lower level. And the top level, I have like a bed, like a big fancy bed. I've got like a wardrobe, and I'm gonna print out a chair and stuff. I don't really know what should go in like a sexy time whorehouse room, to be honest, but I think a fancy bed's a pretty good start, so I think I'm going to start there. But yeah, so I just put these all together, and then I primed them up brown. There's still some areas where the brown's missing, so I think we're going to go through first and just hit all of those, and just kind of make sure that brown is everywhere it needs to be. Because after that, our big painting step for these is actually stippling. So there's a lot of stippling, like when we painted our the lawman's house, the sheriff's house here. We painted that up. Lots and lots and lots of stippling. So I will say I'm kind of dreading painting these last two buildings, because that means then I have to do the windows, because these actually have like fake glass in them that I did. You can see it like distorting things there. That was a pain in the tail. I think it looks cool and is genuinely probably the most extra thing I've ever done on a hobby model. But man, it was a pain. I'll tell you what. But before that, let's go ahead and let's set up some of these brown areas. I apparently forgot to prime the bottom of this, but it doesn't really matter. You're never going to see the bottom of it, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I wouldn't be painting it anyway, to be honest. I would just be leaving it brown either way, so it can just be gray instead. It doesn't matter. But I just want to make sure that I've got the brown like all in those recesses, right? Because those recesses aren't going to grab as much paint, so they're really going to be where the brown shows through. And this is going to be my brothel and bar, like we were just talking about. So it will, I don't know, in my brain a brothel is red, right? That's like conceptually that's where my brain is, so I need to paint it red. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to paint it red. And I've got two different red tones to stipple on after we make sure the brown is all good. I guess I didn't prime this one as good as as the first floor, because there's a lot more gray around. I guess I did a pretty bad job priming the second floor. In my defense, I did it last night at like 8 p.m. because I wanted to paint these on stream today. But yeah, I guess I did not the best job at it, which is fine. But definitely adds an extra step to this that if I had primed it better, we wouldn't have to be doing. So as you can see, I'm not looking for perfect coverage. Really just trying to get the brown down in those little recesses. And for this, I am using warm brown from ProAcryl. Which is just a nice brown color. It works really good for like boots and belts and stuff like that. So all my cowboy guys, like all the Wild West people, I wanted to normalize one aspect of all of the models so that the models kind of vaguely all went together, and that was their boots and belts. So they're all this brown color, all of their boots and all their belts and all the models. And that just normal has some piece of normalization between the models, and I feel like it ties them together a little. As far as realism goes, you probably shouldn't do that, right? Or as far as like actual like modeling techniques go, you probably shouldn't do that. But in my brain, I think of these models kind of like a set. You know what I mean? So because of that, I wanted something to kind of like carry out between them, you know? So yeah. It also helps that this ProAcryl color is just baller. A lot of the ProAcryl colors are really nice. Although I'm going to tell you right now, man, those new Fnatic paints, they are hard to beat. Oof, they're so fucking nice. The new Army Painter Fnatic paints. Man, there's so many fucking colors. Just so much. Like, oh. I tell you, I am... Quite a few shops around here are getting the Fnatic set up. The, like, Fnatic paint rack. Man, I am super fucking in love with that. Just so many weird colors. You know, and it's interesting, right? Like, the weird colors really do kind of like inspire you to kind of like come up with cool paint schemes and stuff. I don't know why. At least they do for me. When I see them, I'm like, oh, that's really neat. It just occurred to me I probably also have to paint the windows and doors and stuff too. So we're off to a rip-roaring start. A lot slower than I was expecting. But it's okay. We'll get a nicer result in the end if we just spend a little bit of time prepping it now, right? A little bit of prep work now will save us tons of paint work later. Because we're not going to have to worry about base coating these doors and stuff then. We'll just be able to stipple our door and window color on top of them. Because when I was looking at the a lot of the cowboy houses and these like cowboy towns and stuff on Google, like doing research about like the colors and stuff, a lot of them, you know, they have like these colored windowsills and stuff as a way to just add some pop to the building. So it's something you see a lot on a lot of these buildings. They'll have like colored windowsills and all that kind of stuff. Colored like the pieces inside the windows. Those will have a unique color and stuff. Man, I'm gonna have to paint the inside of this too. God damn it. This is why I should always do a really good job priming, guys. Usually I'm like, don't use primer for color. Right? Because really what primer is there for is to give you a tooth on the model. It's not actually to color your model for you. It's really just there to give you a tooth so your paint sticks to the model. Now, I say that, and when you're doing terrain, I would highly recommend you use a spray primer to do your base coats. Because it's a pain in the tail otherwise. You wind up doing exactly what I'm doing right here. Now, a lot of people like to use really cheap paint for terrain, like Cracker Barrel paints and stuff. But I'm going to be super honest with you, right? Like, I spent money on these buildings. I want them to look as nice as possible. So I don't mind putting real paint on these buildings, you know? God, this one is not taking the brown at all. Like, I don't mind using like my Pro Acro paints or my Army Painter paints or whatever on these, right? Because I spent money on this building, right? I want it to look as good as possible. You know, I'm spending my time on this building, which is really, you know, a lot more valuable than like a $3 bottle of paint. You know what I mean? So the fact that I would be saving like $2 by using Cracker Barrel paints versus the nice things. Like, I would just rather have the better painting experience, right? And wind up with the nicer result. You know, a lot of people will say, "Oh, terrain doesn't have to look that good." I was like, well, you know, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm wasting my time doing something I don't enjoy, right? Like, I don't want to be sitting here doing part of the hobby that I just don't like, right? Like, because there's shit I could be doing with my time that I enjoy, right? So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it in a way that I enjoy it, right? And that's using nice supplies, right? Like, it's no fun to hobby and, like, you know, clip things out with like a fucking nail clipper, right? Like, you know, if you're gonna do this, like, you're gonna enjoy it, you should use supplies and stuff that you enjoy. At least that's my take on it. Oop. Tell you what I don't enjoy, these fucking lids, man. Yeah, the Pro Acro lids can they can fuck right off. Whoever designed these lids, I swear. I will always argue that Army Painter has the best bottles, especially now when they have agitators and stuff in them. Ooh, man, they are so good. Okay, one more wall, right? Maybe we do this one. It looks like we already did that one, to be honest. Yeah, that one looks done. Okay, cool. Nice. Alright, so this guy, I'm just going to send him off to the side then, and we're going to look at the bottom level. The bottom level is a lot better. There's some gray down behind this, I guess, because the steps here blocked it. I was spraying it and I didn't catch that. So we gotta get that. There we go. And this side looks good. Okay, this side needs a little bit of love. I'm not super worried about the brown colors being a little different. I think that's fine. Right, because this is a Army Painter spray can that did the base brown here. It's a little bit different, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. I realize this painting is probably not very riveting, but to be honest, I actually thought I primed these a lot better than I did, so. And we gotta get our brown layer down or the stippling's just not gonna work very well. Right, it's going to look like crap if I stipple on top of it and you still see the gray underneath. That's going to look like absolute crap, so we gotta get the brown down. Because the intent of all that stippling and stuff is that we have, you know, that there was some kind of paint on this building. And it's been chipping off in the wind or just in the fact that, you know, whatever they made paint from back then probably sucked. It was probably made from lead and gave everybody like brain ulcers or some shit, but you know, that's I don't know, just try to make it look like that, kind of like beat up and weathered a little bit, you know? It's kind of the goal of the stippling, really. Alright, alright, alright. How's the front look? Minus this top row here that I totally missed. It doesn't look that bad. So yeah, if anything, this stream is just make sure you prime your models when you actually want the base coat to be base coat. Like I said, usually I don't care about the base coat actually applying color, because to me what the base coat's there to do is to give the model tooth so my other paints really stick to it. Yeah, see now when I prime, what I do is I actually take all of my models and I take about a 2-foot long little like board, like handheld board, and I duct tape them all down to the board. So like I put a piece of duct tape here and stick them onto the board, and that usually works fantastic. But I see that with things like this, I probably should have actually really like got up in here and turned them around a little bit more and stuff like that. Yeah, because there's definitely some spots that the spray missed. That's fine. We got it. We can figure it out. Go team. And this gives me a chance to base coat some of the side pieces and stuff, because this brown is what those colors are going to be anyway. The like sidebars, like these, like that, that's going to be brown. These walkways are going to be this brown. So the fact that we missed it isn't the end of the world. So I'm actually was going to paint those parts anyway, so painting them now just means I can be more reckless and quick and not have to worry about getting that all over the building, you know? So I'm pretty happy if that works out. That works out. All right, this should be the last of it. There we go. Okay, the inside of this one looks pretty good. Back here could use a little. God, I should just paint the whole fucking thing and just call it done. Ay. This is not the step I intended to do for this. As my first step of this video, I tell you what. But it's fine. We'll get to the fun stuff. Just gotta do some of the maintenance first. All right, let's see. Do we get all these poles and walkways and this cool like banister set? Did we get all that? All right, now I think she's probably ready. Okay, so yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that'll work for now. That'll work for now. Alright. So, I'm going to set that guy up to the side. We're going to go back to the second story, because I imagine this one's probably a little more dry. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a two-step red stipple. So our goal is to try to have a dark layer underneath and then a light layer on top of that. So it looks like the dark paint underneath is maybe like older paint, or it's like more worn paint, stuff like that. And that effect that basically gives it a fake level of depth to the paint chips, which is kind of what we're going for. Because I don't really want to do the whole like spraying it with hairspray and all that, because I just find that a giant pain in the tail and just not a very fun work process. So we're going to fake depth with a double colored stipple. There we go. All right. So what is this? This is kind of just any dark red. It really doesn't matter which dark red it is. In this case, it is heavy red from Game Extra Opaque. I don't think this color is in production anymore. But really, the color itself just doesn't matter, right? It just needs to be darker than your top color, so that it will look like there's some depth to the paint. In this case, it's going to be darker than the super bright red I'm going to use in the next step. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through and get a bunch of this all over the wood paneling pieces of this. So I'm not really shooting for any of the door frames or anything. They'll be their own colors with their own stippling. But what I'm shooting for is the wood paneling bits. They're kind of all over it. Now this double-decker building is from Great Escape Games is pretty dope. And I think there's a lot of different use you could get out of these buildings. Like, even if you had more than one on your table, I think it would be okay. Because I could see them being a couple different building types, right? Like, the nice thing about these buildings is they have interiors, so it means that they can really serve a role in the story on your table, right? So, this could be a bank, and the second level could be the mayor's office, or in my case, it's going to be the bar, and the second level is going to be the whorehouse. Right now, it's only like one bedroom, but it's better than not being able to have something like that. Because I think there's a lot of like story potential there, which I think is neat. There's so many cowboy movies that start in like a bar, and then lead to some kind of like crazy shootout. Same thing with like a bank, right? Like there's so many things that start in like a bank. Or the new guy comes into town and sets up, in the hotel / whorehouse. And everyone's like gathering outside, gonna run him off or whatever. So I think there's a lot of potential for like having kind of like a one bedroom, almost like inn kind of room. I think there's a lot of potential for coolness with that. Well, that's a pisser. I just realized these windows are on upside down. Yeah, the ones on this lower level here, the 3 window block, they're on upside down. Because the windowsill should go on the bottom. Well, poop. Oh well, those windows are just going to be upside down. Short of like cutting it apart with a saw, there's really no way to get that apart now that I think would really be worth the effort there. Damn, that's super annoying though, because I swear they were all the right way up. But guess not. But yeah, you can see I'm trying to give a pretty dense coat of this red. Because in my mind, maybe the tavern's like more well maintained than say the sheriff's office, right? Because the sheriff, he got other shit to do than to paint his building, but the tavern people, you know, they gotta sell their building, they gotta draw people in, you know. So maybe his is a little, maybe like the tavern's a little better maintained and taken care of, kind of thing, you know. So I'm trying to do a little bit more coverage in this coat than I did on the others. You also see I'm not really like pulling anything off my brush, so if there's really well painted sections, that's perfectly fine. I think that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So, because the building's not going to wear evenly, right? It's just that's not how paint wear works, right? It's the areas that the sun hits, or you know, that water gathers, or anything like that. It's best viewers on something. Also, hello to you too, Robot Crash. I don't know what that is, but I imagine that link is not good and that no one should click on it. But yeah, so the I don't know. In my brain, this building's probably better maintained than, you know, a building that's like not trying to like sell itself, you know. All right, so that's our base red. So I'm going to put that guy off to the side, and then we're going to do that same base red on the lower floor, and then the top floor should be dried, so we can do our bright red, and then we can do our base red again. Now, I have a couple different options after this initial stippling step here of what I want to do for colors. Now I'm making all of the like support beams, like the ones that run around the building and stuff, making all those kind of the same brown. I think that looks nice, and I think it ties all the buildings together as like similar construction. But stuff like the windows, the shingle color, that kind of stuff, you know, it's been varying building to building. So far when I did the general store, right, I've got sort of these brown kind of outsides, kind of frames, and then I did white doors and stuff. And the sheriff's office is all white. So I've also been kind of carrying that color inside and using it for the inside walls. So like the sheriff's office has the white inside walls, and the general store has the tan that I was using for those frames. Do you have a particular game you're going to use these for? I do. I actually have two games that I'm going to use these for. So I'm going to use them for Dead Man's Hand, which is where these buildings are from Great Escape Games. And I'm going to use them for Vertwood, the Old West. Now, if you've never played, okay, so let me back up. I've never played Dead Man's Hand yet. I'm really looking forward to it. It's a pretty simple but pretty snappy like skirmish game that's very like scenario and event driven. It's a lot more characterful than like metagaming kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to playing that. But I'm also really looking forward to playing Vertwood, the Old West, because I really enjoyed Vertwood. So Vertwood is a like cultist simulator game, where essentially everybody's in this giant forest that goes on forever, and one day like the god that oversaw this forest just fucking dies. and now everyone's kind of like scrambling, trying to like put their lives back together, trying to find like other minor gods who could like give them bonuses and stuff. So what you do is you make yourself up a team in Veritwood, and you pick like a patron deity for them. And it's pretty cool. You wind up with really neat, kind of characterful little skirmish warbands that are like maybe 4 characters. So when I played it, I had a group of goblins who were worshipping the Bad Moon, and I had a group of like Sigmarite kind of witch hunters. I actually have some videos of that up on the channel from a while ago, but it's a really fun game. It has a really nice, intuitive, simple dice mechanic. But yeah, it's very fun. And they put out a game that is Wild West themed. So, in addition to playing the game these models are actually from, which is Dead Man's Hand, I'm also going to play some Veritwood, the Old West. I think that'll be a good time. And I've shown off my 5 Goes West animal people a bunch, but I converted all the models into this, into various animals. So instead of having like regular cowboys, they're all I don't know, 5 Goes Westy, I guess. It's pretty cool. So I've got like badgers and otters and raccoons and bunnies and all that stuff. I've been jokingly calling it Bullets and Badgers, because there's a game called Burrows and Badgers, which is like the same kind of like animals, but it's like a what is that called? Like a fantasy style game. So yeah, I've been jokingly calling it Bullets and Badgers. Alright, so there's my base coat for the red stippled all on. Now, let's check this one, see how we're doing. Still got a couple spots of wetness, so we'll give that a little bit. And while we do that, we can think about the inside. So, the inside, to be honest, I kind of like the idea of red and white. I feel like that would just look really nice, you know? I kind of really like that idea of it being red and white. So let's try some of the white out while we wait. And yeah, pretty much the same stuff that I just did to the outside, but to the inside. So since there's only going to be one coat, I'm going to try to do this a little more sporadically. And I'm going to do things like hit all the doors and all that kind of stuff. The doors, hit all the windowsills. Just kind of coat it all up on the inside. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. To be honest, I might try to play some tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. I have enough guys done, and I think I have enough terrain done, but we'll see how it goes. With it being a 3-day weekend, it's really nice because usually playing a game kind of takes it out of me. So having an extra day off is really nice. I've been wanting to play some Wild West game of some kind. Thought about doing a hack for Last War or something. Oh, you could. I mean, but there are quite a few Wild West games actually out there already. You have Dead Man's Hand, you have Wild West Exodus. So Dead Man's Hand is intended to be very like wild spaghetti western kind of game. So a lot of like heroes and like kind of scenarios that you'd see in like a Clint Eastwood movie sort of thing, which is pretty cool. And the missions are even set in like quote unquote acts, which are the like defining structure of like rounds. So the whole thing is very like spaghetti western kind. So it's pretty neat. In Wild West Exodus is like a fantasy sci-fi kind of like Wild West game. So you have things like aliens and stuff in it. You can have ghosts and monsters and undead and stuff in Dead Man's Hand. There's an expansion for it, but you know, like one of the guys in Wild West Exodus has like a robot spider wheelchair, right? Like that's kind of more the theme. It's a lot more of like a steampunk sci-fi kind of theme than anything else. And Veritwood is intended to be like a horror game, so your guys will, at least in the original Veritwood, because I haven't played Old West, but your guys kind of suck, you know, but they can do things like pray for boons and stuff like that. And it's really intended as like a campaign game where you kind of like tell your story of like your doomed survivors kind of living out their life. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So there's those ones that exist then, and then if you want kind of a Wild West kind of flair, there's also Malifaux, and I fucking love Malifaux. The theme for Malifaux, the models for Malifaux, I love it to pieces. I think it's probably the coolest war game out there. But the problem is that there's not really a good way to play Malifaux by yourself. Because Malifaux has this bluffing card mechanic, and it just doesn't work for solo play. Same thing if you were going to play something like Moonstone, right? Like you really can't do the combat in Moonstone with one player. You have to have two. Like Wild Wild West. Yeah, like the dude in the wheelchair that like becomes a tank or something at the end. Yeah. Wild West Exodus is very much more like Wild Wild West. Wiki Wild Wild West. I will have to look up Veritwood. Old West. I need to rewatch that movie. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a trillion years either. To be honest, there's one cowboy movie I've always wanted to watch, and I've just never got around to it. And it's a movie called Bone Tomahawk. And it's supposed to be this, like, body horror, western, like cowboys kind of versus, like, monsters that live in the hills kind of thing. It's supposed to be super cool, but I've never actually seen it, and I kind of really want to watch it. Alright, looks like we're doing better on the dry end, so I think we'll break out the bright red now. I think they actually just put out like a cowboy alien thing on Netflix, or maybe it's Amazon. It's called like Outer West or something. I don't know. I haven't watched it, but I think I saw it on there. Alright, now we're going to break out the red for stippling. And this one's going to be more broke up than the deep red. in general, so I'm going to use some lighter touches, and then we can see the brown and the dark red kind of come through. And it will give us some nice depth to our beat up looking buildings. Yeah, for Wild West, you could also do a one-page rules army really easy, right? Because like whatever Wild West faction you're going to take, they're probably going to have very similar weapons, right? Like outer range. Yeah, maybe that's it. That sounds right. I saw the picture on Amazon. But yeah, they're going to any like any weapons a cowboy's going to have, right, are going to be pretty similar. So if you want to do up like one army rule set and then just have different people make different lists out of it for one-page rules, it would work really well, right? Because like, what do you got? You've got a repeater, you got a single shot shotgun, you got a double shot shotgun, you've got a single shot revolver, right? You're going to have people that are going to have bows. You're going to have people that will have axes or daggers. You might have people that have spears, right? If you think about like Native Americans and stuff. You've got a double action revolver, right? Like the armies and all that. You could have a Gatling gun. Like generally, you could actually have a Gatling gun. So I feel like, you know, if you wanted to do up a rule set for one-page rules and then just use that and just be like, oh, you know, we're going to play a Wild West game using one-page rules, I think you could do that really easy. Even be really easy then to work in things that Wild West, that Dead Man's Hand doesn't have, like dogs or stuff like that. Because they do have things like zombies and ghosts and monsters and stuff in the Curse of Dead Man's Hand expansion. But those would be really easy to work into a one-page rules army list as well. Yeah, I think you could do something pretty cool with that. Because, I mean, one-page rules is really nice because it really lets you pick what features of a war game that you like, right? Like what activation system you like, how command points work, if there's rerolls, like it really lets you like tailor it really to your experience. And that's super nice if you don't like one that exists already. That being said, I mean, Verrewood Old West looks like a lot of fun. I really don't know a ton about Wild West Exodus. Like I know a little bit about the setting, but I don't know a ton about like the rules and stuff. Andy from Blackjack Legacy, who's a YouTuber, before he went to go work for Mantic, actually did a whole bunch of like lore videos for Wild West Exodus, which is pretty cool. Just talking about it. That's how I know anything about it. Is from his lore videos. Because it's one of those games that I think is neat, but that I will probably never play because there's a lot of metal models in the range. Like Drowned Earth is that way. Like I think Drowned Earth is a really neat sounding game and setting, but I just don't ever see myself actually playing it because 90% of the models are metal. I've got some Infinity stuff I was going to paint up to play with the local Infinity group, but I haven't got around to finish it because I got sucked into doing cowboy stuff. There we go. And then on to the lower part of the building. Yeah, because I'm not going to lie. This cowboy stuff has like really captured my imagination for just like what's possible. You know what I mean? I think it's really, really entertaining. And it's, to be honest, kind of a nice little contained setting, and it's really nice to do with the models from North Star military figures. So all the Frostgrave stuff, all the Oathmark stuff, like it just works really well with those. Really kind of lends itself to them. So like I have cultists, and I have like crazy trapper hillmen, and I've got cowboys and cow ladies and cow other peoples, like, and I think that's pretty dope. And I did that all basically just by mixing the parts on those boxes. And it's nice, right? Like you do a sprue of 2 from those boxes, and you have a whole force, right? And then you have probably 2 more sprues left. So you generally get 20 of those models for every like $30 about you end up spending. You generally get about 20 models. Coming around. 2 more sides for the red. Then we gotta do all the insides and the windows. And after that, we gotta do the balcony. So yeah, no crazy like hard painting for sure on these kind of painting buildings, but like I'm really happy with how they come out, you know. Have you seen Boyle Hobby Time's Wild Imaginary West? No, I have not. Boyle Hobby Time is pretty cool though. I watch a lot of the Bill making stuff videos, and he's on there sometimes. That's cool though. Is that like a game or something he's coming out with? Because I'm going to be super honest, I love the YouTuber games. Like the ones Uncle Adams and stuff puts out. I just have a really good time with them. Even if when they suck, right? Because let's be real, some of Uncle Adams games have sucked. I'm looking at you, Majestic 13. But I still have a really good time, right? Getting into it for a little while, getting a force, getting like 2 forces together, playing it. It's a really good excuse to have fun. So it's cool that it's a universe he's creating right now. He does a load of dioramas. Oh, that's cool. Well, I hope he I hope he takes that universe further, right? Like, because if you look at the YouTuber Bill making stuff, his videos all on his universe are really cool in the Gutterlands. And then he put out his game for that, and that's awesome. Like, just so good. Right? Because it's especially cool because like when you get to watch someone make something, especially like trash bashing, right? Like, it is entirely their imagination on display for you to witness, right? It's not like they're just painting a plastic model like I am here, right? They're literally just creating it from nothing. That's really a lot more of a like true like quote unquote pure art form, I guess, like painting and stuff like that, where like you're kind of just you're doing something from nothing kind of thing. And it's always really neat to see like those worlds come to life, you know. I think that's pretty cool. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3. All those sides are done. All right, let's go look at the roof. How are we looking for the roof? Because the roof actually has a little bit of on it too. I forgot to do the dark red on the roof. God damn it. All right. Well, while there's red's paint there, I guess we'll work on the roof that I forgot to do. It looks like I actually have to do some brown on the roof. It's an alternate Wild West setting with folk creatures and giant creatures and such. Big walking wagons and machines to scare off the dangers. Oh, that's cool as shit. Yeah, that sounds badass. Be really cool to have like a big like mechanical wagon. You know, you have like all your people like crowding around it stuff. That'd be really cool. Be really neat, like as a setting for a warband too. It's absolutely worth a deep dive binge watch. Yeah, that's a cool idea and a fun setting. I'm actually I'm playing a mobile game right now called Fortress Saga, which is like it's kind of a crappy gacha game, but I like the idea. And you have this sort of like walking fortress that just like walks forward and fights mobs. And the concept of that kind of sold me on it more than anything else, to be honest. I liked the idea of you know, like this big fortress that everyone's kind of like gathering around. I thought it was pretty neat. All right, so le roof needs to sit for a little bit. So while that sits, we will work on some of the other browns. Oh, there we go. All right, so my goal here is to touch up these suckers with brown, so then we can stipple them with white. Because right now I don't want to touch them up. I don't want to like stipple on the white and then have like, you know, red painting errors and stuff coming through. That will just look like crap. So go. So I'm just gonna hit these like that. Yeah, that whole group of hobbyists like Boyle Hobby Time and, you know, Bill Making Stuff, Dan Does. They're all like, they're fantastic. Their videos are really neat. My parents came and visited me out here in Hawaii at the beginning of the year. And I actually showed them a Bill Making Stuff video while they were taking a break and hanging out. It was interesting. They liked Bill Making Stuff because he had a lot of like things that happen in his video, right? Like it's very like visually engaging. They did not like Sonic Sledgehammer, which is a real shame because I love him. They thought he was boring. Which, I mean, fair. He has a very like dulcet voice, and he usually just talks about history and paints things. So, you know, like Hal's Moving Castle. Yeah, exactly like Hal's Moving Castle. Yeah, except it just walks forward and kills stuff. Best Buddy's got his aunt into the hobby with Boyle stuff. Nice. That's really cool. It's always nice when you can get people you know into the hobby. I have been trying to get my husband into the hobby for years, but just not for him. Which is fine. But I don't know. The idea of sitting here and painting together, oh, it's a really sweet idea. But knowing my husband, he would be like God tier at it on day one. And then he'd probably be annoyed at me for not being as good. That's not true. He wouldn't really be annoyed at me. I would just feel bad. Yeah, that's not on him. That's on my bad brain. Alright. Yeah, you can see since we already had the brown down there, this touch-up's really easy. Right, and if the paint's a little chunky or whatever, I don't care. I mean, it's a freaking Wild West building, you know what I mean? Like, these people were probably lucky to have paint, to be honest. Because really, with my Wild West buildings, I try to do a lot of greenery with them. Because in my brain, they're like in like Colorado or Utah. They're not like in, you know, like say New Mexico or something like that, right? So like I have a lot of like brown earth and a lot of like green trees and stuff that go with them, even if they're a little like spotty. Just because I think that I don't know, I think that setting's a little more interesting than just like the straight up desert, you know, that a lot of cowboy stuff is set in. There was a movie, a horror movie about Wendigos, and about like colonial, like not colonial. What are they called? Civil War soldiers, like holding the fort. Basically, all the people in it like going crazy. Like when I think of my setting and think of my buildings, that's kind of like what I think about. I do not remember the name of that movie. I'll have to look these buildings up. Yeah, so these are the buildings from Great Escape Games. They're really nice. They go together like a dream. I have several videos building them on the channel. They come in two flavors. They come in single story building and double story building. And to be honest, the starter box for Dead Man's Hand comes with 3 of these in it. It comes with 3 of the single story buildings. And the starter box is really not that expensive. So you get 3 sprues of cowboys, all of the books, all of the cards, all of the tokens, and 3 buildings. Like, it's pretty amazing, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you actually wanted like more than 2 buildings, it might be monetarily worth it to just buy a starter box. That being said, the double-decker building doesn't come in the starter box, and the double-decker building actually has unique pieces. So what I did for my set that I'm setting up for my table is 4 buildings, 3 from the starter box, and then I picked up 1 of the double-decker buildings. And that's enough buildings, in my opinion, to fill up a 2x2. So when I play games on the channel, I play them on a rotating 2x2 board that I made using a Lazy Susan. And a big piece of metal and a piece of wood that I got at Lowe's. And I actually have a video on the channel also making that, showing you how to build your own 2x2 magnetic rotating building or rotating board for under 50 bucks. It's really easy. You basically just put them on top of each other and then duct tape it all together. It's not anything special, but the idea is really fun. Now, I originally made that board for Dead Zone, but I've since started using it for everything on the channel, just because it works really well for filming. Because when a model moves around, like out of line of sight or whatever, I can just spin it around. And it's really, really sweet. Yeah, and then the terrain, like the furniture and stuff that I have inside the buildings, for the other building, like I was showing off earlier, my sheriff's office, all of that, or like majority of that, comes from a STL maker, I think called Matico. I think that's how you spell it. I think it's Mattico, up on my mini factory. That's where I got all the terrain. You could probably also do Mantic terrain crate stuff, but honestly, nowhere out here in Hawaii really sells that. So it's easier for me just to 3D print the items I need than to get the terrain crate stuff. Because I'm sure they did have done like a Wild West terrain crate. I would be shocked if they had not done a Wild West terrain crate. All right. Whew, get in there. Alright, so that's all the brown, or most of the brown on this guy. Got a little bit more still here. And we'll do a quick spin around with him to make sure we got it all. There we go. Alright, yep, missed that piece there. That's why I always double check for things like this. Because I'm really bad with my brain just kind of skipping to the next part right away. I'm super guilty of that, so. Alright, so she's good. So I'm going to put her over to the side. And then we will do the same thing for the lower level. I'm just going to touch up all of these side panels and the window panels and these steps here. Basically everything we're just going to touch up. I got a box of both Gunfighters. I had 1 and 2, as well as Frostgrave Wizards 1 and 2 for kit bashing into Weird West stuff. Oh, that's super awesome. Yeah, I have a box of Wizards 2 on not pre-order, on like waiting for temporary restock. And I got a box of Wizards 1 and did them up to add them as cultists to my animal army. So there he is reading his book with his pistol. And I did a squirrel with a crossbow. And there's a weasel in like a purple mask. He's got like a purple gimp mask. And otter with like a bilge hook. That came from the crewman box. Northstar sent me a sprue of Frostgrave Barbarians for the shipping taking so long too. Oh, badass. Oh, so the Frostgrave Barbarians. Oh man, they're really fun. Okay, hold on. Oh. So these ones aren't painted up yet. I still have them on the table. But I'm going to use them as like prospector types or like fur trader types, like mountain men kind of guys. And with a couple like pouches and stuff, they actually work really well. Like maybe this guy's like a freaking like lumberjack or some shit, you know? Right, here's one with a bow. Oh yeah, they could be Native Americans. Yeah, the animals being fur traders, it's like LOL. But like that kind of like mountain man, kind of prospector, like Yukon Cornelius. Here's one with a shotgun that I clipped down. You know what I mean? Like that kind of person is sort of like what I'm going for with those. And I think they work pretty damn good. They do have a sprue of like very native kind of people. It's part of the Ghost Archipelago, something like that. Archipelago, I think is how you say it. It's part of the Ghost Archipelago line. It looks pretty cool. I don't have that one though to know if it really works well with the cowboys and stuff. I think that one might be more like South American kind of native than like Native American, or you know, like not like the Pueblos, like the ones that sacrifice people and worship the bird dragon. What the hell are they called? The Incas, right? I think it might be more Incas and less Pueblos, or less like Iroquois, or you know, they're kind of more American-y, like Central American ones. Yeah, I absolutely love the Frostgrave ones. I have Wizards 2 on pre-order from Amazon, and Barbarians 2, so I can make some lady cultists, because right now my cultists are just dudes. And we should be an equal opportunity cult, I think, you know? They also had a Doc Brown with DeLorean. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty damn cool. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. Let me check that real quick. Okay. So yeah, so once I finish all this town stuff up, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to 3D print out like a mine entrance and some like mine related like scatter terrain. Because if I'm totally honest, the like evil possessed mine is a really good like story hook in Wild West, right? And it's a very pretty common one, right? Like something evil's in the mine kind of thing. I think that's a really nice story hook. So the other building that I showed off earlier, the other single decker one, that's going to be my like mine prospector's office. It's going to be like the mine owner's office. He's going to have a little receptionist in the front, and like a really swanky posh office. Let's see. From the third movie. Hello. What's going on? No alerts. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by no alerts, but I am painting Wild West buildings. And we have basically taken them from priming all the way through. And we are... I've also fully built them on the channel, just not today. Did that on Wednesday. And yeah, just working on making some old looking buildings. If you want to see what they'll end up looking like, they'll end up looking like this, so that they are kind of all beat up and stuff, and they'll have full interiors in the end. These ones right now even have like glass in the windows, like fake glass that I made. You can see it's like obscuring kind of, because like glass around this time was really thick and kind of shitty. So that's what they'll end up looking like. This is my sheriff's office. I have to paint the name on the front. I don't know what I want it to say still. So I gotta do that still, but this is what they'll look like in the end, and that's what we're just trying to get them to. So I got that one done already, and I have half of my general store done. So you got the horsey tie up things. You got the little water thing there with some water in it. But yeah, this is what they'll be in the end. So right now I'm just working on the double decker. The double decker, like tavern / whorehouse. That's going to be her when she's done. But yeah, so right now I am going through and cleaning up the areas that my stippling caught that I didn't want it to, specifically on things like the door frames and stuff like that, because I'm going to re-stipple those in a couple minutes and make them a different color. So they're gonna be the white that I used for the first floor. Right now we're just using warm brown. If I can get it to come out again. Come on, I don't want to break the other one open. I have another one of these. And I know there's a ton of paint still in here. Come on, come on, come on. No luck. Alright, give me a sec. Oh! Warm brown. Number 2, let's go. Time for post-stream care. Have a wonderful stream. Thank you. Thank you for coming and visiting. Oh shit, I just remembered. I have these to open on stream too. Alright, well let's do the let's do these browns and then we'll do the dark reds and then we'll open those up because I forgot about those entirely. I had to go pick up my car from the airport yesterday, so I stopped at one of the local hobby shops and they had these like weird little Warhammer blind bag things. And so I figured it'd be more fun to open them on stream than by myself, so I say that like that's the justification. The truth is I bought them and then while I was stuck in traffic I tried to open them, but totally couldn't get them open. So I'm going to sound like I actually planned it, but I actually didn't. I actually tried to open them while I was driving home and just couldn't. So, you know. It is what it is, you know? Alright. Yeah, I don't know a lot about those blind bag things, but I thought they were cute. And they were only like $5, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll pick some up. Because I was looking at a bunch of the other Warhammer stuff, and God, it's just so goddamn expensive. Like, when did the Gellerpox Infected become like $70-something? Like, real talk, when the hell did that happen? I remember when they came out in the freaking Rogue Trader box, you got them, another team, and terrain, and books and stuff. And I swear it was like $125 or something. Right? Like, it's just crazy. Like, I look at the new Warcry boxes, right? And I got the original Warcry box for $150. It wasn't a sale or anything. It just, you know, just was what it was. It was just the cost of it. $150. The new Warcry boxes are $130, and you don't really get terrain in them. You don't get any of the books. You don't get dice. You get half the number of sprues. Like, it's fucking crazy, man. But yeah, so I wanted to buy something at the game store, or at the hobby shop, and I was gonna buy some Warhammer stuff for Necromunda, but I just couldn't. I was just like, fuck, this is so expensive. So I bought those little guys instead because I was still wanting to buy something at the store, you know? I like to support them. I like that they exist. I wish they sold more indie game stuff, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess, you know? So, yeah. Yeah, I was looking at the, because the next, oh, what the hell is it called? The next Necromunda expansion is, like Gene Stealer cults and the like very fancy guys. That's the script. The very like I don't know, the more sci-fi ones that I can never remember the name of. So I was looking at the game store to see if they had a box of those. And they did not. They had the vehicle for them, which is like a set of like crab suits, which are pretty darn cool. But even that was like $60, and I was like, man, that makes each one of these crab suits like $30. You know, and it's like, man, I get 20 North Star guys for $30. Like, it's really hard to justify that price when I can, you know, half my animal army that I'm going to be playing all these games with, you know, was $30. You know what I mean? It's very hard to justify that price. So, yeah. So I didn't end up picking any of it up. I don't know. I might still. I technically have a really big gift card at that hobby shop. Maybe I'll go back and pick some of that up, but using the gift card. But sorry, it's not a gift card. It's like store loyalty. Right, so I can get X number of dollars off. So maybe I'll go back and grab some of that with that. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Necromunda is... I like Necromunda. It's a lot of fun. But honestly, like, it's so hard to keep up with. Because, like, the cards will come out for a faction and then they'll disappear instantly. And, like, there's so many books and stuff. It's generally really hard to keep up with. So that's why I stopped playing it. Because I was playing the living hell out of it on the channel. God, probably 2 years ago. I was playing basically nothing but Necromunda on the channel. And then, yeah, I just stopped doing Necromunda content because it was just too hard to keep up with. You know, I didn't want to buy the cards for every faction, even if I could, right? Lots of times they were sold out. Like, it was instantly. Really, really tough stuff. All right, we're just going to hit some more brown areas on this just to get them tidied up, and then we can move in with stippling our white and get the front of this building all finished up. Because, yeah, these floors, they get a couple different layers. So, like, even after they're done being painted, they'll get a dry brush. And then on top of that, they'll get mud on top of that. So, yeah, they got a couple layers to go still. I don't know why I clean my brush when I'm just going back to the exact same color, but it is what it is, you know? But yeah, the new Necromunda box looks good, but I don't know. GW just kills me a little, you know? With all the price rises and stuff. Alright, so we're going to set that off to the side and we're going to work on the roof. And then while the roof's drying, we'll open up those blind boxes. Vansar. Yep, that's exactly what they're called. Yeah, Vansar. Thank you very much. Vansar is the one gang I don't own, and they're the new ones in the new box. I own all the other gangs, so when I saw it was Vansar and a new gang, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. All right. I don't know if anyone would play it or if I'd even actually want to play it, but it might be fun to use the models for other stuff. Like Stargrave. Stargrave is a phenomenal sci-fi game. And actually, if you're interested in Stargrave, this weekend is an amazing time to be interested in Stargrave because almost all of the books are on sale up on Amazon because of the holiday. Because other companies that aren't GW actually put things on sale. So if you're interested in Stargrave, it is a great time to look at those books right now. I didn't see any of the models on sale, but but I saw all the books on sale. So yeah, so just stippling down that dark red like we did before. And I'm trying to hit the couple areas that I missed doing brown on. Just get those done. And then we'll let this sit and dry, and then it'll get the bright red stipple, and then we can do the white over on the other ones. Should need a little more. And while this dries, we'll open up the wine boxes. Because I was going to do this at the beginning of the stream, and then, to be honest, I just got so sucked into working on the cowboy buildings that I forgot. Because I love wine boxes, I really do. They're really fun. Just not knowing what you're going to get, and just, you know. And it's nice, too, to just be, like, happy with whatever you get, right? Like, sometimes there's things you really, really want, but, you know, like in this case, you know, I'm pretty much going to be happy with almost anything I pull out of that box. Alright. We'll grab this guy, put him off to the side, and we'll crack open those blind bags. While we wait for stuff to dry. Because I was going to do these earlier and I forgot. So let's see, what is this? It is a character bag clip. And it looks like we've got 9 different dudes here. We've got ourselves a Necron from the Scissorkin dynasty. We have a Tau dude, Fire Warrior. We got a Death Guard guy, a Chaos Space Marine. We got a Sister of Battle. We got some other kind of Space Marine. I don't know why he has white eyes. That's kind of weird. But we got some other kind of Space Marine. Then we have a... These have a name. It's like Invictus Blade Master or some fucking stupid shit. But he's another Space Marine. He's got a shield and a sword. We got a regular Intercessor, and then we have a Assault Intercessor. Did I get it right? Oh, he's a Dark Angels Hellblaster. Oh, and it's Blade Guard Veteran. I was like, they have some stupid ass name like that. And there's apparently 2 exclusive ones. The guy at the game store told me that these are just gold versions, so I really hope I don't pull the gold versions. But they're pretty neat, and I figure we check them out. Whoosh! Oh. Whoosh! Huzzah! Da-na-na-na. We have... Wow, that's bigger than I thought it would be. God, for $5, that's actually really nice. We've got a little fish boy. We got a Tau guy. That's pretty cool for $5. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually really nice for $5. Yeah, that's pretty darn cool. Alright, so we got our Tau boy. He's got his little head clip there. And then the other one, let's see what we get. If I got another Tau, I'm gonna be annoyed, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, good, it's not another Tau. Was kind of hoping for the Death Guard, to be honest. But these are all pretty darn cool. We have the Assault Intercessor, who is a Blood Angel, and his hand is melting into his gun, kind of. Yeah, those are cute. I'll hang those on my shelf behind me. This one's in a really weird pose, I'm not gonna lie. But the Tau guy is in a really nice pose, so. But yeah, the paint apps look good. A little bit of flash, but nothing terrible because they're rubber. But yeah, those are super cute. Those are really cute. Much bigger than the other chibi blind boxes. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, that was a lot larger than I thought it would be. Giggity. But, you know. Alright, let's go back to do some white stippling. So, we're going to go back to our stone golem. Because I at least want to get through this step before I call it a day. Even though I've already been streaming for an hour and a half. Man, it does not feel like it. I must just really be in the mood for some hobby. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Mama Jama right here. And I'm going to cut these bristles off first and foremost. There we go. And we're going to use this guy to stipple with because he's a little more controlled than the other one. So, all right. And we're not going for perfect coverage. We're not going for perfect stippling. We just want some coverage, right, over these different pieces, just like that. You can kind of see I'm just sort of feathering it in there, right? And I know I'm probably going to overhit in some areas, and that's okay. We'll come back and touch that up next. There we go. That's one window done. We're going to move to the next. It just occurred to me I should double check the top of the windowsill too. There we go. I'm just kind of dragging this along there. And, you know, I'm going to miss some areas, and that's going to kind of be where my stippling effect comes from, more than actual stippling. Yeah, in the end, our building is going to look kind of like this, right? Kind of like that. It's pretty cool. I think that's pretty darn cool. As I punch my head into the camera there. Yeah, see I got some over edges there. That's fine. We'll hit those next. Alright. Because it's a Wild West building that lives out in the elements. And it was probably made by a bunch of drunkards. And it's probably not the best. Right? I don't think there's a whole lot of Wild West buildings still standing, you know, compared to like the Roman Colosseum, you know what I mean? So. There we go. Another side done. 2 sides down, 2 to go. All right. And we have to be careful not putting this on too wispy, because then it just, to be honest, it just kind of looks like bird shit. Because it's like the bird shit color. I say that, but I use this color all the fucking time. Yeah, I like this like off-white kind of color. I think it works really well for a lot of things. There we go. Maybe we'll paint like a heart or something on this door, since it's going to be the door to the brothel. But yeah, just working on my buildings. To be honest, the messiness that this painting allows for is really nice. right? Like, especially when you come from doing something really fancy and very, very detailed, right? Doing something that lets you be kind of dirty and rough is really nice. You can also see I'm as I speed up, I'm making more and more errors. There we go. That's okay. We'll clean all those up. But yeah, so it's sort of like the, you know, if all you've ever painted is Warhammer stuff, painting something like stuff from Frostgrave is really nice because it's just such a change of pace. Like, such a change of pace. Like, not only how the models go together, but just like the way you paint them is just so different. Because there's a lot of detail, but it's not detail like it is with like Warhammer. So like you'll have a lot of like interesting stuff on the model, but it won't be like he has 5 skulls on his back, you know, that all have leather straps that run through the eye sockets and the nose, you know, but there's one that has its leather strap that runs just through the ear, you know. And then he's got a pile of maggots coming out of his belly. Like, it's not detail like that, you know, so it's much more relaxing to paint, to be honest. Okay. Put some up and around. All right. Let's bonk, 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 bonk. Nice. Let's do the bottom. And then I guess we'll do cleanup. So we want to do these pillars here, all in the front. The thing we want to do. Because I think it adds a lot of nice look to the pillars. That one actually has a little bit of wet brown paint, so we're going to get that off our brush. Oh, there we go. And you can see like just the nicety, the little bit of white on the front adds, right? It just adds some neat visual detail to the building. You know, and it doesn't really take any effort, right? Like, I'm not putting any crazy effort into the being neat with this or whatever, right? Like, even if I hit the areas I want to be brown, I'm just going to come back and touch those up in brown. Like, I'm not going to worry about it. All right, let's get some more. Oh. Yeah, I would like to get this one building all done before I call it quits today. So we'll probably work on that. Because I also have that other building, but I'll probably do that one on my own tonight. Because to be honest, I don't know what color I want to do that building yet. Because that building is going to be like the mine, like chairman or owner's office. So I kind of wanted it to be like a very like Richie Rich kind of color, I guess. And I just don't know what that would be. I'm thinking maybe like green, like money. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was thinking maybe green, like money. Or maybe like a gray. So like kind of like a light gray maybe. Because my buildings right now, I've got blue, red, and like lime green. or mint green, I guess. And the truth is that, like, you think cowboy buildings would all be brown and stuff, but they weren't. They were actually these, like, crazy freaking colors like this. Yeah, like, it was like one of the few ways they could really make the buildings look neat, you know, have some personality to them. So they all were these, like, nutter colors. And it kind of goes along with, like, the fake facades on the building, just kind of like trying to make them look way nicer than they actually were, right? Like that kind of falsitude. You know, the buildings being painted crazy colors is kind of in that same vein. Or like if you think about like ancient Roman stuff, right? Like all the movies show you it in marble and all, but really it was like gold and fucking turquoise and, you know, all these fucking crazy colors. Okay. And these Wild West towns, they weren't any different. They had lots of same, like, crazy colors. Obviously different colors, a lot more like earthy tones, just because of the paints that they had, right? Like, a Wild West town wouldn't really have turquoise, for example, right? They would certainly have red. They would certainly have blue. You know, there wouldn't be a whole lot of gold, obviously, but you know, that it still had that same kind of like crazy colorage. All right. Okay. Oh, I guess since we still have some of the white, we should do the inside, I guess. We'll do it with as much as we can. We'll just use it up to use it up. There we go. All right. Now, we're going to set that to the side. We're going to... Yeah, fuck it. Let's do the roof. Why not? Why not? We're here. Let's do the roof. I'm not going to paint the shingles today, but at least get the sides done. So then, in the end, we can kind of put it all together and have it just look nice. You know? So, same step lane stuff as before. Right, we started with our dark color. Now we go in for the light color. And it's okay if some of it is way better painted than others. That's fine, right? Because really the dull tone stipple, like the point here is just to get some depth to the color. None of it is to have specific coverage or anything like that, just to get some depth. You know, doing red, man. I guess this could also be a schoolhouse. Oh, it's funny to think. Yeah, I guess you could also do like a double-decker schoolhouse in this setting too. Have a whole bunch of stories about that too, I guess, huh? You know. Or a double-decker doctor's office where the first floor is like patients and the second floor is like the room they stay in if they're sick. Right, the first floor is like a visiting room. Although, you know what, I guess a lot of doctors around this time, I guess, would have actually come and visited you, huh? They would come and visit you in your house. You wouldn't actually come to them. Alright, now we can go toss it off to the side. And we can start cleaning up the red areas that I hit while I was doing the windows. So yeah, so we'll just do cleanup on both of these, and then we'll do the inside of this building, and then we'll do cleanup on that building. We should be good. So this is where I'm just kind of going back and I'm hitting areas that like probably should have been hit better with the stipple and weren't. And I'm hitting areas that were overflow from doing the white stipple. So we'll have to do this with the brown as well, but we'll start with the red. There's going to be a lot of these areas here next to the window sills. And then these will get glass in them, but I am not doing that today. Because, man, that takes it out of you, I tell you what. Doing the glass. Because that glass is actually bags from Gunpla. So when you buy a Gunpla, the bags come in, the parts and the runners and stuff come in these bags. And they're like these clear, kind of hard plastic bags. Well, the plastic's hard, the bag itself is soft, but so I actually made myself a jig to cut out that plastic the correct size for the window. So I went ahead and I glued that in just with super glue, and then on the inside of the window I actually hit it with gloss Mod Podge, because even when you put the clear plastic in, it actually doesn't create a distortion effect. And glass around this time was like super thick and shitty, like mega thick glass. It was really bad. So it would actually have these kind of like distortion effects to it, and I thought it just looked neat, made the buildings look a little more interesting. So the gloss Mod Podge was a big addition to that. Okay. All right. And the red on all of these is done. Okay, the red on that one's all done. He still needs his brown, but we'll put him off to the side for now and come and do the red on this one. This one's going to need a lot more cleanup. Let's see, a couple of these spots I'm hitting the fucking window. Do not mean to do that. But yeah, getting close. So after these steps, the outside of the buildings pretty much is all done. The duck boards, the like walkways that go around the building, those will, I'm going to touch them up with brown, and then they will get a dark brown wash, and then after that they'll get a dry brush of khaki, kind of to grab the edges of the boards, because the edges are probably going to be all torn up and stuff. So to make them kind of look more like broken wood, I'll do that, and then kind of just do sort of like a dry brush down through the middle of the board, and that's to try to simulate like steps and stuff that people have done on the board, right? Like maybe the board is chipping and pulling up in some areas, and it's just kind of like weathered like that. So that's kind of that step next, and then after that the boards will get stippling of texture paint. So Vallejo dark mud texture paint, which is what the base on this is also going to get. And that's just to be, you know, any mud that got tracked around by the building, you know, from people walking on the duck boards. Because these duck boards existed because the walkways and stuff would get really muddy. So that's why they existed. So I kind of want to, you know, show that the duck board's got some mud on it from that, you know. Okay. Whew. All right, so that's all our white cleanup. Let's do the brown, and then I think we'll call it, because I am running out of juice. I am running out of juice after we do our brown. So, all right, let's see. We gotta do any like of these sidebars that I hit, like that one right there. Oh man, I hit that too. That's unfortunate. Well, that's also going to get some brown because I don't feel like pulling white out for that. So congratulations, you just became brown. There we go. Yeah, so these brown bits, they'll get a brown wash, a dark brown wash, and then they will get that dry brush I was talking about of khaki. Then I'll just use khaki from Vallejo because I like that one because it doesn't have a lot of green in it, and it's a lot more of like a taupe kind of color. I think it looks pretty cool. So, all right, so there she is. That one's all done for today. Got this guy here still. Get in there and get those duck boards. And just do a little bit of cleanup. Because we want it to be messy, but not actually messy, right? We want it to look worn, but not like sloppy, you know? So, you know, things like this edge here, like painting that in is going to have a really nice effect and really tidy that area up. You know? Even like doing down between the tines and stuff. You know, just it adds to the nicety of like cleaning up this area, even though the paint job is very messy, you know? And the look is very weathered. Just doesn't make it look, I don't know, sloppy, I guess. Go! I'll get some more brown. Whew! Okay, almost done for the day. Almost done with this building. We've actually got a lot done on this building. Oh my god. Wait till you guys see when I put it together. It's going to be like, holy shit. You know? Considering it just started as this brown block. Like, we got a lot done on it. Go. There we go. There we go. All right. Hell yeah. Oh, got a little bit there. Nice. Nice. All right. And then we got this guy who also needs cleanup. And then we will slap it all together and call it done for the day. Probably go take a shower and unwind for the evening, and then be back to work on the next building probably later this evening. Probably not going to stream that though. I will stream tomorrow. What I'm going to stream, I don't know yet. I might try to play Dead Man's Hand, because I think I have enough stuff done to do it. But I don't know yet, 100%. I might paint some more World War II tanks. I've been really enjoying the World War II tanks. The little Flames of War stuff. I'm really enjoying that. So there's There's this Instagram channel who's posting all these like alternate history color schemes for your tanks, and I really like that idea. So I kind of took that and made my own. Right, so he's basically taking real designs from real tanks and using like real color palettes from the era, and he's making his own alternate history like camo patterns. So I took that idea and made my own, and I'm really happy with it. So we might do some World War II tanks tomorrow, or we might play Dead Man's Hand. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. There we go. Gotta hit the back too. There we go. Alright, let's slap her together and call that it. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. I gotta do the roof still, but I'm not doing it right now. And there we go. That's our completed Wild West Inn and Brothel. As she's going to be. I'll get the big sexy time double bed in there. Not today though, but it's going to go in there. And down in the bottom we got our bar. We're going to put in down in the bottom. It's going to be good. But yeah, that's the Great Escape Games double-decker building. Super, super happy with that. Yeah, that's great. Especially considering she started like this. Shit. This is going to be the mine foreman office. Considering she started like that, I think that's an absolute win for an hour and 45 minutes. I think that's fantastic. So she just needs a little bit of cleanup and some internal painting at the roof, and then she's all done. So we almost got her ready, which is pretty cool. You know, it could be like, oh, there's a weasel on the balcony. Alright. Maybe we've got a sermon otter down underneath. And an otter with a bilge hook on top. There you go. But I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be up to something tomorrow. I just don't know what. But I hope you have a good one. And